Up on stage next, Balsu Thandu, Director of the AT&T Developer Program. Subo Shen, Oliver Spatschek, both from AT&T Labs, are going to be here to talk to you about ARO.
I think Guy did a great job here presenting what I was going to present and talking about why optimization is important for all of us. And why it is so critical to kill off these data hogs and be efficient as to how we use the data networks. Right? So this afternoon, hopefully we'll cover all the questions that came up through the audience. Where do we have best practices? Why should we care about data optimization? Do we have best practices? Is there a tool that we can take this theory into practice? And I would like to say the answer is yes for all of those things. And over the next few hours, we're going to spend time introducing why ARO and how it matters to you and our customers. And we're going to get even deeper to help you understand the underlying technical concepts that we use to build ARO, the Application Resource Optimizer. So I'm Balsu K with the developer program, and I'm going to just give you basics and then get my colleagues from the research team who have done all the great work that I get to talk about, right? These are the guys who dreamt up this situation. We were at work 2 years ago when we had these network congestion problems, and we had to find a solution. So we wanted to get to the basics and understand what was going on our network, and all of which came to a great tool called ARO. So phones have changed at an amazing pace, right? How many of you remember this? This brick. And these weigh 2 pounds. If you want to check it out, you can try. And at best, it lasted a day, and even then, you got to get the charger connected all the time, right? These were meant to be used in cars most of the time. And there was one killer app, voice. And today, what we have? A mini computer on our phones, right? These have an app called Voice, and much more than that. Hundreds and thousands of apps potentially, right? And this is what makes it complicated. So over the years, a lot of things have changed, the way phones look, the way things operate. But there has always been this critical hardware and software that gets into each device to make it work and make it transfers to various network elements. Right? And one of the key hardware elements in each of these devices, both the brick and this super smartphone here, is what we call the baseband processor, the network processor that handles all the network transactions. So anytime your application needs data, it makes a call to the application processor, right? And the application processor just passes it on to the network processor, the baseband processor. So you can very well imagine, as you go through these chain of reactions, you're going to have delays associated with them, and you're going to have power consumption in addition. Each step requires power, right? It doesn't operate for free. And with ARO, what we're going to do is help you understand how you can optimize, how you make these network calls at each step, so that you have the best possible experience that you can present. You get specific feedback on your applications. I think one of the gentlemen behind there asked if I can get specific feedback on my application, and ARO will help you just do that. So by paying attention to ARO and how you make these network calls, you're on the first step towards getting your app to respond faster and consume less power. I think Guy did a fantastic job explaining why user experience matters, right? If there's anyone who disagrees user experience is less important, then let's have a chat later. So user experience is so critical for the success of any app, especially when you have thousands of apps doing the same thing, Google Market or iOS, right? The other day when I checked an app for weather, there were 1,330 apps. Come on. So you got to pick one based on what works best, and user experience is so critical. So one of the key things for us at AT&T was to present the best possible experience to our customers, to our smartphone customers basically. And what does it mean? Applications need to load up faster. That's been one of the top mobile frustrations. That's what Gomer's research, right? People get fed up waiting for their apps to load. So ARO helps you to speed that up. And the next one is apps need to be responsive. They need to go zip through the app, right? And of course they need to consume less power. And ARO helps you to do all three of this. Fantastic. And customers are my expectation nowadays, right? And customers came, we don't argue with them, we just do what they want, which is present the best possible experience. And 3 seconds is the time that they're willing to wait. 3 seconds or less for their apps to load. That's a challenge to be able to do. That is ARO. Take your apps, that's ARO. Now what do we do? We want their apps to load faster, they want batteries to last longer, right? All day, right? And we can't fault with it. There is a reason why we call this a smartphone, not just a smart device. It has to be available to make a phone call. And ARO helps you optimize your battery life. Just optimizing the number of network calls that you make and clubbing them together, putting them into a single call rather than making multiple calls and firing on that network processor that I talked about earlier. ARO just optimizes it. And we've done several studies, and one of which led to battery improvements twice, right? 2x. And I was just thinking about it, and I was listening to Guy talk about how battery life requirements are going to accelerate by 2x with LTE, right? And now we have a tool which helps you to gain 2x battery improvement. So there's a great solution here for ARO to address the problem. So fundamental to any device is the baseline processor that I talked about. And when you set up a network connection, the device goes through these state machines, wireless state machines. And my colleagues from labs are going to do a great job helping you understand what these state machines do and how much power they consume and what does it mean from optimization perspective, right? These are sometimes called the radio resource controller, and every cell phone has it, right? Every cell phone has it across any network. It's just fundamental to the wireless network. So it's very critical to understand how these state machines work, with promotional delays, and how you can introduce or identify ways to optimize the delays so that you present the best user experience, as well as save power. Guys, everyone wins with ARO, right? Fundamentally. I think Guy had a nice cycle, or circle, which had the carrier, the users, and the developers. It's pretty much the same. The end user benefits from great battery life, the efficient data plan usage, snappier apps, and enriched user experience. From a developer standpoint, I think this is what matters to you guys most. What you get with ARO is a very specific analysis for each of the apps. And it's very key to how you address the problems, right? And then it's cross-platform and network agnostic. Actually, it's open source too. So if you have things that you want to use to optimize the way you use ARO, it's open source, available on GitHub, you can go download it. And we have a skin in the game. We want to make sure our network resources are being managed effectively, while at the same time presenting the best experience to our customers. Spectrum is a scarce resource, and you've got to manage it efficiently. And while we do all the top three, it means improve radio availability for the rest of our customer base. So everyone wins with ARO. We've done great case studies, one of which is Dribbler, who's going to, we have founders of Dribbler here to talk about it. They used ARO, and they got specific feedback by which they could improve their app by 35%. That's phenomenal. So everybody wins. Then one classic question that we get is, when can we use ARO, right? At what point do you use ARO? Do you wait till the market reaction or the user ratings that Guy listed? Or do you start it right from the ideation phase or during your test phase? Most integrations happen as a QA process, right? And we at AT&T have included ARO as part of our device certification processes so that we present the best possible out-of-box experience for our customers. And you can choose to do what fits you, but I would highly request you to be proactive rather than be reactive, because you can address a lot of those user experience complaints by using ARO before we go to market. So, my big repeat message, and you're going to hear this, you heard it from Guy, and you're going to hear it from my colleagues later on, is coding for wireless is different, right? It is a different technology. And just because of the nature of the networks, right? With the Ethernet connections, the network experience was primarily determined by the amount of data that was available to share. But with wireless, it's fundamentally different. It's just not the data bandwidth, but it's also where you're located, how far you're off from the cell towers, and how many people are there in the cell, and the topography, right? All of this places a tremendous burden on the wireless network. And developers who write on layer 7 need to understand what happens at the underlying layers so that applications are much more efficient, right? And with wireless networks, there's such a tremendous signaling load, and I think my colleagues are going to cover that as well, that every time you set up these network calls, it's setting up extra signaling on the network, right? So it's very important that developers like us play an important role in optimizing the usage of those networks. And every time you place a network call, you're consuming their power. So we got to really optimize that. Hopefully you got good reasons to understand why wireless is different, and to take a step deeper and to help you understand how wireless is different from a technical standpoint and how you can translate that into practice from a tool standpoint. We're going to have a great session. But help me welcome Oliver Spotstick from our labs to talk to you about how wireless is different.